Okay, here we go. Our long elevated layer techniques. I'll start off on the lighter side of the parting. So beginning on the right, I'll comb the hair straight out. And as I cut the left side, my body position is parallel to the right side shoulder. So it'll help me with my over direction. And to be aware throughout this technique, for myself, the most challenging execution is the ability to comb the hair perfectly clean from roots to ends. And when I say clean, I mean that the hair that I comb, each strand is parallel to the teeth of my comb. And understand that every millimeter I comb the hair away from the scalp, my level of difficulty will increase. That's one of the most challenging aspects I find personally when cutting super long hair. So again, half of the battle is awareness, then understand your challenges. So again, here I'm standing at the opposite side, over directing the hair straight out. Every section is over directed onto the original guideline. So I'm building up some graduation here via over direction. Just take your time, do it right, make sure each strand again is combed perfectly clean. Now I'll work this technique all the way through the side area. So my final technique will incorporate the sideburns. We're still not rushing it, and again making sure that since I'm cutting square, that as I comb the hair from roots to my guideline, that my comb is always at a horizontal angle. That way it's easier for me to control my shape by aligning my fingers parallel to my comb. And as I start to reach my cutting line, then I'll make one last visual assessment from roots to ends. If everything checks in, then I'll open my scissors and I'll start taking hair down. Okay, so still working in the same manner. And this cut, I selected this technique because after this haircut, I'll go and perm her hair. I'll be using quite large of a perm rod. So by elevating the hair to the same point, I'll remove enough heaviness through the outline. So my end result, it won't look like this gigantic bell shape. It'll remove enough of the heaviness through the outline, because once I curl the hair, i.e. it's more big, it's more three-dimensional, it's more gigantic because her hair is naturally straight, so it'll fall very streamlined. After the perm, I'll build up a tremendous amount of dimension, so it will fall fuller. So again, this technique was selected so I can remove that heaviness throughout the outline, so I don't end up with this gigantic bell shape. Okay, so now starting the same technique on the opposite side. So now as I'm cutting the right, I'm standing at the left side shoulder. I over direct the hair straight out onto that very first guideline. And just following my guide. Don't rush this. And through the top, I'm working with slightly diagonal sections. So for the top area, from parietal to parietal, I'll be over directing the hair to that exact length as the guideline. So here I'm building up length through the right side via over direction. So now as I reach the parietal area on the opposite side, here I'm combing the hair straight out. So that way when my two sides fall down, they're symmetrical. I need to build up the top area a bit asymmetric just to consider when the hair falls naturally, everything will be balanced. But for the side areas, I'll over direct to the parietal, so when that area falls, I'll have my symmetry and balance. And just be aware of your stroke, make sure the hair is super clean. My fingers are parallel to my square comb. And I just go in and I start taking down my length. Okay, so now through the back area, I'll be over directing every section to the length at that crown. So I'll comb the hair straight out. And at this point, I'm standing in the front, like between the nose and the right shoulder. So this, again, my body position will help me control my over direction. And I'm still working with slightly diagonal sections because I want my shape to fall softer. If I were to use horizontal sections, my shape would fall a bit more blunt, hard, and heavy. So these diagonal sections, they can compensate for that heaviness, because again, I do not want that heaviness. This time around, I want a nice, soft, smooth contour. So through the back, you use small, manageable sections. Now notice my stroke is very slow, it's very determined. My stroke count is minimal, it's like 1 to 2 strokes per section. And my stroke speed is quite slow, because with a slower stroke speed, I give myself ample amount of time to make the visual assessments that I am combing the hair from roots to ends super clean, and it gives me time to assess my elevation and over direction. If I stroke the hair super fast, I wouldn't have enough time to make these essential checks prior to me taking down the hair. So again, the exact same technique on the opposite side. So I jumped over, so where I'm standing now is in the left side between the nose and the shoulder. I'll take a piece of the guideline from the opposite side and the guideline from the top area, still working with slightly diagonal sections. And again, comb the hair straight out from the crown. Comb the hair super clean from roots to ends, and just removing that length. Now with this length, it's a bit challenging. Ideally, I wouldn't want to drop, after I comb out this section, drop the hair between my fingers, because it may shake up the cleanliness of what I combed. But in order to reach, sometimes you may have to do that. So if you do, use an additional amount of tension between your fingers just to hold the hair in place. Still over directing to the exact same point. Calm, cool, collected. Now this area through the nape, it may be a bit challenging, and if any pieces drop out, let them drop out, because that's not your three-dimensional shape. Just cleaning up that dust. Now go in and I'll diffuse the hair. I'll use a sufficient amount of product to keep it from frizzing and just diffuse it. And now that the hair is dry, I'll go through and I'll more slice cutting. I'll pick up the hair, I'll elevate it, and I'll slice cut with my shears. And as I slice cut, I elevate that section higher, because again, I want softness. So when we elevate and put our shears into action, the end result becomes softer. Just pull a section out, and I'm just working with distribution. I want an even distribution of the weight as the hair falls naturally. And there's no rule of thumb. I just wouldn't recommend going in and busting up the hair too much. I still need to maintain a significant amount of my structural integrity. So again, slide cutting and elevating as I slice it, because again, it'll allow my shape to fall much softer. Okay, and there we have it, our LEO. Enjoy. And here's a backstage shoot of like the technical steals that we shot for a brand. We actually developed a collection of 6 haircuts, 6 chemicals,